This episode is brought to you with the help from Newbelity. Newbelity is your go-to IT partner offering tailored solutions in talent acquisition, infrastructure support, network reliability, and cutting-edge AI. We help you stay ahead by turning technology into a strategic advantage for your business. Newbelity, turning your challenges into powerful opportunities. All right, well, welcome to the Viking Press Pass. I'm Matthew Nickel, and joining me today, Tyler Knuth, forward for the Vikings. So, Tyler, thanks for squeezing me in here on a Friday.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's start off. It's your fifth year here back at Augustana. What was your motivation to kind of return here?
So the first was I had an extra year, so why not? Was kind of one of the bigger ones. Is just like why have a year and not use it? And then the other one was all these seniors that we have right now. I thought that we could do some big things and wanted to kind of stick around and see how it went.
Absolutely. Now, did kind of Coach Delp moving into like the head coaching position, did that kind of help, sway or influence your decision to stay as well, or?
It did a little bit, yeah. It did a little bit because that would have been his first full year, and then there would be a little more like solidness in the coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, Delp. I mean, like we were talking before here, man. We go way back to his freshman year and when he played, and he's so knowledgeable, and I was so
Yeah,
excited when not only when he joined as an assistant, but when he moved into the interim, and then finally got the head coaching role there last year. Super excited for the program, and I mean, to me, it's paying dividends. Kind of right out of the gate, and the Vikings are off to a great start. So
yeah,
can't argue
yeah, we
with
are.
the results and your decision to come back. Um,
Yeah.
so what's the workload been like? I mean, for your fifth year, what does that look like for you, kind of this year?
As in a class schedule
Yeah.
or like a class. So I had to drop because my major is not super like aggressive with classes. I had to drop a class last semester to then take it again this semester basically. So I'm taking one class throughout this fall semester, and then I'll take a J term. But then I also have to do an internship for credits as well. So,
All right.
yep, I'm doing an internship at Hy-Vee as a store manager or as a service manager, and getting paid to kind of stay for an extra year.
Nice. Nice. Man, that was my first job. It was Hy-Vee,
Yeah, yeah,
14. Yeah. I started in the one, they actually just closed it down in kind of the
at
south end of
Davenport.
Davenport. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh, I was there all the way up till I graduated and came to Augie. So,
nice. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. It's been pretty good.
Are you at the one just up on like was it 30th or right
Yeah,
there in
the
Rock
one
Island?
right here in Rock Island. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the start of the season. So Vikings are off to a 3-0 start. After that overtime win Wednesday over at DePauw. It's the best start since 2017, and I know it's early right now, but I think the mentality of this team just it feels different to me in a very positive
Yeah.
way. I mean, how would you kind of describe how the team is gelling right now at the start of the season?
Oh, yeah. I think we're really connected right now, and I mean, it makes it really easy when you have a bunch of guys that have played a lot of minutes together. But this has been the most bought in that since I've been here, the most bought in that we've been, and it's showing.
Absolutely. I mean, gosh, I was going back to when was the last time the Vikings started off 3-0, um, and it's 2017. So, they finished 25-6, before they fell into the
Yeah.
sectionals. So 4-0, in 2016, and really the best start in memory is 12-0 in 2015. And I think when I think about what those teams did, and how they played, it's very reflective of how this team is kind of approaching the games, and I think just
Yeah.
how generally kind of executing, and thinking about that DePauw game, um,
Hmm.
the ability to close that game out in overtime. That's where I felt like this team is, miles ahead of where you're at, last year. I mean, what were your kind of just general thoughts on DePauw in general?
I mean, yeah, we definitely the closing out in the overtime is something that this team definitely struggled with last year, seeing that we had 7 overtime games and not not 7 overtime wins. So yeah, that closing out in that overtime was huge for us. But yeah, I mean, we kind of started off slow, but then our defense kind of kept us in the whole time until we kind of got blessed in the fourth quarter with a missed layup, and then took care of it in overtime.
Yeah, gosh, I think you started overtime like on a 12-0 run or something like
It
that.
was yeah, I think it was 15-3 was
Yeah,
the overtime run to
yeah,
start
that's
overtime.
awesome. I mean, I think even just a little bit about, the first game, when Delp came in. I think it was Illinois College, I believe, was his first
Yeah,
actual game. Um, and again, went into halftime, I believe, with like, I don't know, maybe a 10 or 12 point lead,
yeah.
and just kind of whittled it away. And to your point, like, it was tough to really close out games last year. And I don't know. I mean, there's a million reasons, right? But you think
Yeah.
about, you got a little bit of a slow start statistically to the DePauw game, but then you finished, gosh, what do you have, 23 points, and you were 10 of 10 from the line. And a lot of folks hit some big buckets there at the end. And um,
Yeah.
even like, kind of walk me through like that press break for Mikey Hamilton to get the dunk. Like, I hadn't seen that. That looked new to me, and it's like that was probably one of the best executed plays down the stretch at the very end I've seen from the Vikings in a while.
So that was honestly, it's an old play. It goes back to those 2015, 2017 teams, and Mikey just had a really good read on it. He saw his guy jump to help on me for a trail, and he just dove to the rim, and Evan found him.
Flush it
So that was
home.
just that was a heads up play by Mikey for sure.
I like it.
Yeah,
Um, I like it, and it was tough that last play there. Kind of left the guy kind of cherry picking behind.
yeah,
Went up
and yeah,
and missed it. Thank God, but yeah, coming out and just on that overtime run, like that to me shows, I think, the senior leadership, the maturity, of that starting five, and some really good kind of fresh faces, that are on the court for the Vikings.
yes.
Now, thinking about that game, I think a lot about not only your leadership, but some of the other leaders, from that starting five. How would you kind of describe your leadership style, on this team?
So I would kind of describe myself as more of a lead by example and kind of in the background, where if people have questions, they kind of come to me off the top. They don't have to ask Coach Delp, but I'll give them the honest truth of what they think or what I think that they need to do. Whereas we have a couple other people like Chase is more of a vocal leader, and he kind of sets the tone with his words and describing what he sees.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would kind of say I'm kind of under the radar, but I'm definitely still heard.
Absolutely. Um, so there's several new, faces, in the rotation. Who do you feel like has really, stood out to you so far, and just kind of how they contribute and here on this team? Oh, did I lose you there?
Can you repeat that again? I think one of our internets are cutting off a little bit. There it goes.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. So we have some new, fresh faces. Who do you feel like is really kind of standing out so far, early on?
Well, I mean, Stayshawn Kelly is the big one right now. He is a monster on the defensive end. He has come in and he's sunk his teeth into everything that we're trying to do, and he's playing his heart out. This is kind of fun to watch.
Absolutely. What do you have? Five steals the other night, and so yeah, you're talking about defensive monster. That's where he is, and the other thing I really appreciated about watching him is his ability to finish at the rim smooth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, we
Yeah.
were talking a little bit about like the superlatives. Um, whether it's defensive player of the game, chairman of the boards, Augie Ego, Viking rule, which is no excuses, just get it done. Now, I know they're just kind of superlatives, right, game by game, but how do
Mm-hmm.
you think these awards like positively impact the team and just kind of the players' motivation?
It's kind of a show of your almost a show of your effort throughout the game. Like it's I don't know. I don't see most of our guys kind of playing for those awards.
Hmm.
It's just more of like a hey, we see that you're working really hard,
Yeah,
and we're gonna reward you with something in publicity in the publicity wise. But yeah, I think those are great. And if someone thinks that that's something to strive for on their in their game, then they have the ability to do it.
well, I think the other part, it allows folks to come in and, like you said, kind of be recognized that, they may not be getting, um, you know, 20 minutes a game or 25 minutes a game, but, but they can come in and contribute, pretty quickly, and be pretty effective. So I think it's super cool,
Yeah.
especially what they've been
Hmm.
doing. And, now what about the co game was awesome. Not only just because of the win, but the Carver crazies, the student section. I mean, what were your
Yeah.
thoughts around playing in that type of environment? Um, kind of game one right out of the bat.
Well, I thought it was great. So that student organization is pretty new this year, and they did it. They do one fall in their last home game of the year as well. And yeah, I thought we had a great showing for our first game, and we gave them a game to where they might want to come back and watch another one, and
Absolutely,
hopefully keep the Carver Crazies in the gym.
absolutely.
So
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know me and
it was great.
I know me and my son, we have our favorite spot. I mean, it's right there, front row, court side, right there at half court. It's kind of our favorite little spot, and it was awesome just to see the energy, for that game because Co was, I mean, they were co-champions of the ARC last year, and
Yeah.
they've got a lot of good talent, so it was a good win, kind of, right out of the gate. So now let's switch a little bit and talk maybe a little bit some non-basketball questions. So, communications major. What made you kind of pursue that career track?
So it was kind of a secondary choice. I started as a education major, and then halfway through or beginning of my junior year, I start I start on schedule for becoming an education major, and find out that one of my past classes was not a high enough grade to keep going, and I was gonna have to take that class over. So I switched jump tracks and switched to communications for the last 2 years to really just make sure I got a degree before leaving, and to do it within 4 or 5 years.
Yep. Yeah, I was also a communications major. And I was talking to, I believe the class you have now, is it with Dr. Wendy Hilton Morrow? Oh, can you hear me there? There we go.
I
I
did
think you're back
not.
there.
I
That's
did not
fine.
hear you there.
So
Trying to see if it's my internet or if it's.
um, so is your current class with Dr. Wendy Hilton Morrow?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I was texting her, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I was telling her I was gonna, talk to you. Again, I go way back with Wendy. I was her first advisee when she was like here part time in
Oh,
2001. So
yeah.
I was the leftover
Jeez.
student and got assigned to her. Yeah, she's awesome. We
Yeah.
she really helped me. I was a first generation college student, for my family. So
Hmm.
yeah, she was awesome to kind of help, work me through college and support me along the way. Or heck, I might not have made it through the first year or two. Um,
Yeah, she's awesome.
so I mean, what's your plans, or what are you kind of thinking after Augie? How do you think that degree can kind of help you? Have you thought much about it, or
I'm not one to necessarily look too far ahead, but some of the things I've been thinking is I have a pretty secure job with Hy-Vee if I wanted to keep pursuing that. And then another road I've thought about taking is to try to play more somewhere.
okay, nice. Well, Hy-Vee's an awesome company. I
Yeah.
mean, so they're well respected here. But um, so one of the other questions I have is, when I sent you the email from my Gmail account, um, it showed your Gmail profile, and it was you holding. It looks like a bass. So do you like to fish, kind of in your spare time, or?
Yeah, I do. And that's been one of my things to kind of clear my mind or just hang out. It's been
Do you get out
yeah, it's
much,
been
while you're here at school,
yeah.
or do you get out much
I
while you're
do
here at school?
actually. I do. I've gotten a decent amount. Yeah. I've I stayed the last 2 summers down here, so I've been able to find some spots and kind of explore on my own.
What's kind of your species of choice?
I really just kind of throw something out and try to see what gets it. But I mean, smallmouth bass are pretty fun to catch, and catfish are too.
Yeah. Well, the Mississippi's got a lot of really good walleye. I love fishing as well.
Hmm.
I've got a boat, and I've been getting my boys into fishing. My wife loves to fish, so we typically spend our summer at a lake camping. You know, majority of the summer. So big fan there as well. Have you ever been
Yeah,
bank lining before for catfish?
I have not. Is that just throwing a line out and sticking a stick in the ground kind of a thing?
Kind of. So I have they're like 10 foot long, like PVC tubes. You're
Uh huh.
allowed. I can't remember how many by law it is. I'd have to double check, but we'll depending on where the water table is at, me and my buddy will go out and we'll go kind of in the back channel of like the Andalusia like slough area.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so basically you just stick it in the ground. Throw use cut bait, or sometimes we'll go catch some bluegill, hook them up, throw them out there, and come back and check them, a couple times throughout the day. And um, so yeah, if you're around this spring, even just riding along sometimes is a good good time. We can always use some extra hands. We pulled in some pretty sizable catfish out of the Mississippi,
Really?
and we do the Wapsie, so it's a good
Okay.
time, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, lastly, looking ahead, Tuesday, in the Platteville game, they're number two. They're a great team up there in the WIAC. So, what are you kind of expecting to see Tuesday night on the road?
A lot of physicality. A lot of those Wisconsin State schools are big and they're strong, and they all are coached really well. So we're getting ready for physicality and a different style of play than what sometimes we're used to. I mean, this conference is pretty similar to the WIAC, but sometimes I think they're a little more consistently big and strong.
Yep. What it seems like, the unique thing a little bit about Wisconsin, right, is they don't have any Division II teams. So, outside of the couple of Division I programs, they stay within that state school kind of network. So, they certainly have some, I would say, some recruiting advantage,
Yeah,
from a cost perspective too. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. I'll be bringing my son up there, and we're gonna, go catch this game out. I told you, we know, a couple of players,
Bristol.
Bristol, and but then Dom Roden, who played with them there as well,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
um, but should be a fun one, man. And I'm actually going to be able to jump on. I know the broadcaster, Jimmy Casca, that does the game, so I'm actually going to get the chance to jump on their broadcast and talk a little bit of Augie, as well. So
That's
that should
cool.
be that should be a lot
That's
of fun.
awesome. Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
so outside of that, it's been awesome watching you, for your past 4 years, and now this year as well. Certainly, good luck Tuesday, up at
Thank
Wisconsin-Platteville.
you. Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
I think this team is really poised to do well, and again, just to do well, again this season. So, appreciate your leadership. Appreciate all you've kind of contributed to the basketball program and to Augustana, and for those that can, hopefully they tune in online. If they can make the trek up, even better. Uh,
Yeah,
we could use the support up in Platteville. So, game set for 7 p.m. So again, Tyler, appreciate you connecting with me today.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right.